Testimony in the trial against the teenage girl accused of starting last year's devastating Cocos fire is expected to continue through the end of the week.
And set to take the stand on Friday is the man who took these photos of the fire as it first broke out. CBS News 8's Matt Johnson is in San Marcos tonight with what that witness plans to say in court. Matt?
Carlo and Barbara Lee, this is where the first fire started, right here in this backyard. The second fire actually started about a half a mile away in a canyon right there next to that sign of Cocos Drive in Washingtonia. A big part of the trial is whether an ember from the house can travel that far away. Now, we caught up with one man who's set to testify on Friday with photos, video, and a timeline that prosecutors will use in the case.
I feel very honored to be able to help in determining, what actually took place.
John Melson can point to where he saw the two fires that would become the Cocos fire last May, and he has the photos to prove it.
I've taken hundreds of thousands of pictures of my life, and none of them ever have had such importance as the ones that I took here on that day.
The former news photographer has been subpoenaed, and he's expected to testify Friday against the teenage girl accused of starting the Cocos fire. Prosecutors will likely rely on his photos to piece together a timeline from May 14th of last year. Melson saw smoke from the first fire on Washingtonia Drive at 3:25 in the afternoon, and then another fire 8 minutes later in a nearby canyon.
It's a very definitive timeline to know exactly where I was and the time that the images were captured.
The now 14-year-old girl accused of starting the fire lives on Washingtonia Drive, where the first fire appears to have originated. Prosecutors said in court on Tuesday that an ember traveled nearly a half a mile from the girl's backyard into a canyon near her home. From what John Melson saw through his lens, the wind played a big role in spreading the fire that ultimately destroyed 36 homes.
The second fire was west of the first fire. The wind, was blowing in many different directions that day, but it was windy that day.
Nelson says he didn't notice any foot traffic or any other vehicles in the area at the time the fires began. He's never testified as a witness in a trial before, but he says he's not nervous, just anxious to play a role in the search for the truth.
I'm just going to present, my pictures and let that show what I saw.
Now, Melson says he was subpoenaed about a month ago. He's not allowed to offer any opinions about his photos. Instead, he's just going to refer to them and offer the facts in the case. Back to you.
Matt Johnson, thank you. The firefighting expenses from the Cocos fire ended up costing the San Marcos city more than $10 million.